I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV episode number 195. We just moments ago got the sad news that Leonard Nimoy had passed away, so we're breaking out the Spock collectibles for the table here. His presence will be with us. In all seriousness, I think Leonard Nimoy was a pretty gifted actor and humanitarian and artist, and you never heard a bad thing about the guy. I mean, all you hear about is Shatner and what an SOB he is. And then George Takei was in the news and is always in the news for the various, either gay rights causes or
internment camps.
Internment
well,
camps.
Those
are the big two, and I mean
yeah.
they're legitimate big issues. And Leonard Nimoy was kind of that quiet guy in the background who was friends with both. He's like that kid in high school who can pass easily between the nerds and the athletes, and he was just a cool guy. I did have a chance to meet him once several years ago, and he was just as nice as I thought he would be, and Shatner was not. So when Bill Shatner dies, we may not have the outpouring of support that we're seeing on Twitter and Facebook and all kinds of social media. So,
for those of you who are under 20, Leonard Nimoy is that guy that Sheldon likes on Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, I mean, the character Spock and Leonard Nimoy himself, I mean, he's part of the pop culture of the world, really. I was going to say the United States, but it's pop culture of the world. So, and then again, I think it just shows the staying power and the impact that Star Trek has had on the world. So, sad to see you go, Leonard Nimoy. All right, we're back.
It's a very mellow episode.
There were a lot, it's a mellow episode. It's a little bit of a late episode. We have some issues with wildlife in the store this week, which may become evident as we continue to record. Who knows? But my pick of the week. Let me start by saying lots of good stuff this week. Mm-hmm. Tons of
huge week.
Big week. And my pick is not necessarily one that it was actually an afterthought for me to even read it because I hadn't read any of the criminal books in quite a while, but Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips published a criminal special edition one-shot this week from Image Comics. And you don't have to really know anything about the characters from previous criminal volumes. In fact, most of them are standalone volumes, so there's no carryover from one to the other. But the main character in this issue, T. Lawless is his name, I think, was in the first arc of Criminal. And basically it's a prison story. He's in prison for something, I won't tell you what, and he's kind of like give me a pop culture comparison. I don't know. He's a bad guy, but he's like a good bad guy, kind of, sort of. I mean, he's a jerk, but he's not like a really horrific guy.
Nicolas Cage and Con Air? I don't
know. Maybe,
I
I don't like comparing anybody to Nicolas Cage.
Hey, Con Air is a fine film, no matter what John Cusack says.
If Leonard Nimoy was in it, I would have watched it. So, Criminal. It's a one-shot. It is a love letter to the oversized magazine comics of the 70s that were in the UK and found their way to the United States. We have a cat stuck in our drop ceiling in the store, and it's been there for over a week, and we've spent far too much time trying to get this thing out of the ceiling. It will not come out of the ceiling. For food, we ended up with a defective trap, or the cat can levitate.
It was a live trap, not like a rat trap or something.
No, we're trying to humanely get the cat out of the ceiling. And it's like Harry Houdini cat. It will do everything. It's just taunting me at this point. I hear it's meowing in my dreams at night. I can't sleep. I can't eat.
Funny fact, I actually got the cat last week, but I've planted a mic in Mark's ceiling, so he keeps hearing the cat.
No, I saw the cat this morning. It looks at me. I come in, we remove a ceiling tile, I look up at it, it gives me the finger, and then it continues to haunt me. So that's what we're listening to now. We can hear things in the wall.
See, it's a paw. You just thought it was the finger. He was actually trying to do the Wrath of Khan thing with you, but you weren't into it. You didn't,
He's like Toonces, the driving cat.
Yes.
For those of you old enough to remember that on Saturday Night Live. Anyway, my pick of the week is Criminal, special edition one-shot. So this is available in two formats. traditional comic-size format, and it's also available in a very cool magazine style. You're gonna hear that meowing on the audio, I know. With a cool Conan-esque cover. This was a very poor way for me to talk about such a fine book as Criminal, but I highly recommend it. It's a one-shot, done in one, and if you like it and you've never read Criminal before, you can go back and pick up the trades. They're being republished by Image. They were originally published by Marvel under their Icon imprint. What else is there to say?
You could also say that...
Oh, I do want to say, yes. Well, we'll say that, but I'll leave that for you. If you don't know who Ed Brubaker is, or if you're only familiar with his Marvel work, he has lots of creator-owned properties, including Velvet, and what was the one with like the Cthulhu thingy?
Oh, Fatale?
Fatale, yes, and this.
I don't know if I would define that as Cthulhu thingy, but okay. Yeah, also out this week from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, we've got the first collected edition of The Fade Out. This is the first 4 issues in one awesome volume for the low, low price of $9.99.
Nine times.
Yes.
$9.99.
This is one of my favorite books, month in and month out, at least for the last 4 months when it's been coming out. It's a look at the post-Golden Age, but the Hollywood of the 50s and 40s, and it's just awesome. Brubaker and Phillips are great together. They do noir like nobody else, and it's a great Americana story, and it's awesome.
It is awesome.
So that goes with your Criminal. My actual pick this week is Superior Iron Man #5, written by Tom Taylor with art by Laura Braga. And this continues the story.
Yeah, I thought it was Ardian Syaf from previous issues, but it wasn't. Carry on.
This story continues where we picked up last issue, or the last 2 issues actually, with Teen Abomination. And what I really loved about it was we get to see flashback stuff from years ago. I don't know if we got an actual time, but he's in the armor with the gears on the shoulder, right?
In Marvel time, that was like...
It was last weekend.
Not that long ago.
But it's a flashback to one of the classic Iron Man eras. We get to see Happy Hogan still alive, and I love the mythology that they're building in here. You know, it's very challenging to make a book fun about a guy who's basically a jerk. And Superior Tony is definitely a jerk, definitely self-interested, and the fact that they make me care about what he wants, and also, you know, it also draws a nice parallel, or not, a contrast between, you know, the man he was and the man he is now, and I just loved it.
I agree. Superior Iron Man is one of my favorite books at Marvel right now. It's just so good, and I have to attribute most of that probably to Tom Taylor and his superior writing ability. Also new this week is one that may fly under your radar. It is Joe Frankenstein from IDW Publishing. This is co-written by Graham Nolan and Chuck Dixon and illustrated by Graham Nolan. So 2 names out of the 80s and 90s that are still working in comics and still publishing some really fun stuff. This is the story of a girl. This is we have that song on our playlist and it plays in the store all the time. The story of a descendant of the Frankenstein family who is a teenager, pizza delivery boy, and he ends up delivering a pizza to a nest of female vampires who want to kill him. And he's rescued by the Frankenstein monster because the Frankenstein monster, in this story anyway, is kind of the guardian of the Frankenstein family. I was pleasantly surprised and thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the artwork was solid. It had, you know, thrills and chills and humor, and I think it's an interesting twist on the Frankenstein legend. We'll have another version or another Frankenstein book coming out in March by Mike Mignola, which is more of a traditional Frankenstein story. But this is, you know, set in present day, and it was fun. So if you're looking for, number one, if you're a Frankenstein fan, you want to check it out. But if you're looking for something kind of action-packed and a little lighthearted, definitely check out Joe Frankenstein. Yeah,
actually, we got a preview copy of this, and I didn't read it because it's called Joe Frankenstein. But Mark read it and liked it, and when we got him in, it's good. I like it. I was wrong. I should have read it the first time. Next up this week, the top of everyone's radar probably is Spider-Gwen #1 from Marvel Comics, written by Jason Latour with art by Robbie Rodriguez. And that's the same creative team from the Edge of Spider-Verse, where we first saw Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman. And this picks up right after the end of Spider-Verse. Actually, if you're reading Spider books this week, you want to read Amazing first, and then everything else, then 2099 and Spider-Gwen and whatnot. It doesn't really matter, but chronologically, that's how they roll out. And this was actually a lot of fun. It was one of the more hotly anticipated books, so it's always tough to see exactly how it's going to live up to that. And I liked that we're in Gwen's universe. You know, so they have the whole Marvel Universe to play with, and it's not the real Marvel Universe. It's an alternate, it's a skewed timeline, so they can take things, you know, different. I mean, obviously, Peter's already dead in this. He died in the... did he actually in the previous one, or did he die in the flashback?
In the flashback,
yeah.
Of Edge of Spider-Verse, numero dos.
Numero dos.
Is that right? Was it number 2?
It was number 2, yes. And so we get to see a different Marvel Universe, and I really love the... And this could just be what I've been processing lately, but it kind of felt like Josie and the Pussycats or Gem and the Holograms. You've got an all-girl band led by characters from the Spider-Verse, or from the Spider... Well, it is the Spider-Verse, I guess.
Yes.
Like Gwen and
from
MJ.
Spider-Man's Circle of Friends.
A band called the Mary Janes, and
they smoke pot.
Yes, they don't. I mean, they might, but
they're in
don't
high school. They
age.
should.
So people who aren't in high school, depends on the state, I guess.
Next week,
it was lots of fun. Yes. It was fun. I really like, after so much heavy stuff going on in Spider-Verse, you know, the universe hanging the balance and people getting bled out for arcane rituals, it was fun to have a young Spider-Person going on adventures and having real-life problems and just being light and fun. Fun is the key word.
That Josh just said, a young Spider-Person having real-life problems.
Yeah?
Spider people aren't real. I understand.
But the problems were real.
Yes. No, I enjoyed it too. I don't know if we want to spoil... I don't want to spoil some of the reveals that you'll get to see in this, but it's very much, you know, as Josh said, you get kind of that same enjoyment that you do out of the Ultimate Universe, where suddenly you see, oh, here's so-and-so, and they're not who they're supposed to be, or they're not, you know, stuck in the same preconceived's the wrong word. Anyway,
it could
pick it up. You're going to pick it up. It's Spider-Gwen. It's awesome. Pick it up. Stay with Spider Books and Spider-Man 2099 number 9 by the regular creative team, the only creative team thus far, of Peter David and Will Sliney. This has the cover. The Maestro is holding Spider-Man 2099's head in his hand. For those of you that don't know, the Maestro is a future version of the Hulk created by Peter David many moons ago when he was working on the Hulk. So that's all you need to know. I mean, for me, that was it. All I had to see was this cover, and I was sold. And the story turned out to be really good. So again, you want to read Amazing Spider-Man number 15, which is the epilogue to Spider-Verse, and then pick up any other Spider book. So Spider-Man 2099 gets sent back to his time period and finds out that, at least it appears that everything has gone to hell. And it is because of the Maestro. So it's great to see David writing this character again. It's great to see the Maestro. How are you? And we'll probably maybe end up seeing him during Secret Wars. I think we're just going to see every character that's ever been published by Marvel in Secret Wars. But I dug it. And it's again, someone asked in or posted a comment not too long ago, they weren't digging Spider-Verse or Amazing, but they really like Spidey 2099. Do they have to read Spider-Verse to figure out what's going on with Spidey 2099? And you don't. You can pick up issue number 9, jump right in, and as always, Peter David gives a really great summary through Lila, Miguel's artificial intelligence that he hangs out with. So, yes, get it. Awesome. Good.
Next up this week from Dynamite?
Dark Circle, a.k.a. Archie Comics.
Oh, Archie, okay. Sorry. From Archie Comics under the Dark Circle imprint, we've got the Black Hand... I'm sorry, it's Black Hood. Black Hand would be DC, I guess. Black Hood, number 1, written by Dwayne Swarzynski with art by Michael Gaydos. And now, this is stuff that Archie's had previously?
I have no idea. This is... Dark Circle is Archie's crime imprint. I don't know if these are older characters that are... Like, I don't know if there were Dark... We should have done our research. I don't know if there were Dark Circle comics, 50, 60 years ago. And
well, because they had the Red Circle. That was like their hero line.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the...
And that went well.
Parallel to that?
But top-notch talent.
Yeah, Dwayne Swarzynski is great. Especially crime books are really where he excels. Yeah. That's what he's good at. And this is very cool. It's the story of a cop who faces off against a vigilante, and that's like the very beginning of the book. And this is about what happens next after the throwdown, after you become a hero for stopping somebody. And it went directions I did not expect. We see another Black Hood revealed, or at least hinted at being revealed. It got kind of dark, and there's like some post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD things going on. And it was good. It was not. I know we said basically the same thing when Afterlife with Archie came out, but it was not what I expected from Archie Publishing. So that was good. They're defying expectations, and it's a very solid crime police, not procedural really, but police drama, and it's definitely a thinker. It's you're inside the character's head trying to see his point of view, and it's very. Did I say dark enough yet? It's dark, but
yes.
If that's what you want, it will deliver for you. And we have a cool cover by Francavilla. Francavilla? Mm-hmm. Franco-American?
Franco-American. I enjoyed it. Again, pleasantly surprised. Not something that I would normally pick up, but I did, and was glad that I did. So we'll see what happens. They've got some other top-notch talent lined up, including Mark Waid and
the Fox.
Some other peoples moving forward with Dark Circle. And then there is a free comic book day edition of Dark Circle Comics, which includes an excerpt from Black Hood #1, as well as some of the upcoming Dark Circle books. Finally, for me this week, S.H.I.E.L.D. #3. I should say, yeah, I guess it is S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought it was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's just S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
So all I really want to say again about this is that if you are of age to remember the classic Marvel team-up comics of the 70s and 80s, this is for you. This is very much Marvel team-up with Phil Coulson being the Spider-Man character that would appear in every issue. And you get a different group of Marvel heroes or villains that show up every issue, and this time around we get Spider-Man, and that was that, what's his face? Who was the mystical guy? It wasn't Dormammu.
Oh, it was your boy from the Avengers run you liked, right?
Dr. Drew. That wasn't Dr. Drew.
Isn't that Dr. Drew?
No.
Okay. What was Dr.
No,
Drew?
there's apparently an evil sorcerer that gets roped in because they have to invade Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum and put an end to some bad stuff that's going on. But here's the thing: written by Mark Waid, artwork by Alan Davis. Apparently, they're just targeting people between the ages of 32 and 45, perhaps, and throwing creators that influenced all of our youths when we read comics. So, I'll say it again: S.H.I.E.L.D. is the Marvel team-up of the 21st century. You should check it out. Each issue stands on its own, and all three of them have been excellent so far.
Next up.
Dramatic pause.
Mark Waid's laundry list I would read. So anything with Mark Waid.
I could probably get that for you.
You can make a few phone calls. Next up from IDW, we've got D4V, or maybe Dave, I don't know.
Last week we had 8, like...
A-8.
I don't know how you spell that, yeah.
But this is from IDW, written by Ryan Ferrier, with art by Valentin Ramon. And so, you know, when the robots rise up and overthrow us, as they eventually will, we never find out what happens next.
The only survivor will be the cat in our scene.
Yes. It'll be their overlord. So this takes place after the robots have overthrown humanity and then gone on to wipe out life and all over the galaxy. So the only thing left is robots. And there's probably plants and stuff too. I wasn't 100% sure on that. But so it's sort of it's basically Office Space. You know, once robots have done everything, they've conquered, they have control, what do you do with it? And the truth is they, possibly because they were designed by humans, they tend to fill very human roles. So you've got robots who used to be, you know, badass shooting aliens and soldiers and whatnot, going back to have day jobs and have to fill out TPS reports. And it's ridiculously funny slice of life stuff. It's you see all of the I don't want to say pain, but all of the unpleasantness of life, all the things that people don't want to have to do, getting up early and going to work and dealing with family and kids and all the different stresses that go on. But it's skewed slightly because you have these weird robot relationships, and because it's just bizarre and a lot of fun. I thought it was great. I thought it was a very fresh take, and yeah. So if you want to see what happens after the robot uprising, Dave is where it goes.
Or D4VE.
D4VE.
So there you have it.
Isn't that a Star Trek episode?
I don't know.
Star Trek.
We've got comics from 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 different publishers that we talked about this week. Stuff all over the map, from noir crime to Robot Life to traditional Marvel stuff.
I would subscribe to Robot Life magazine, by the way.
I think you should start Robot Life magazine. Just goes to show you, comics are everywhere and are just so awesome. So let us know what you're reading. We haven't asked that in a while. What are you reading? What do you like? What should we recommend? Or what should we recommend? Tell us what to do. No, someone has again posted a comment several times that they want us to see, or they want us to review more indie books, and we have a handful today, but we don't read a lot of fringe stuff that isn't going to sell in the shop. So we tend to stick with kind of the top 6 or 8 publishers. So if there's something that you've read that you really enjoy that's published by a back of the book publisher in the previews catalog, let us know. We'll check it out. But for now, you're stuck with what we give you.
And speaking of that, we are going to bring back Alter Ego's beloved March Madness, where we take the best books of last year and put them head to head through a series of rounds to find out what was the best book of 2014. So feel free to give us your pick for the best books, and we'll make sure they make the bracket, unless you're wrong and the book was bad, and then we won't. But
because it is up to us.
It is.
That's it for this week. Everybody, take care. We'll see you next time.
Live long and prosper.
Don't you forget about me.